I'm going to give you a definitive guide on how you can improve your show up rate and therefore have more sales calls to take and close on whatever it is that you sell. There's no income claims over here. I'm just here for educational purposes. But what I have been able to share, which is this, with a bunch of agency owners, coaches, creators over the last decade, it's helped them crack 7 and even 8 figures in revenue. So let's dive in over here. Now, show up rate. This is ultimately the holy grail of making ads profitable. Why? Because if you have lead costs of even 100 or 200, but you have a show rate of say 80%, you're getting a showed appointment at roughly 180, 200, 220. And then if you have maybe 3 of those show up to a call, Bob's your uncle. You're closing deals at sub $700 on a cost per acquisition. For most businesses that are selling high ticket, a $700 or $800 cost per acquisition is great because your LTV may be anywhere from $10,000 to even $50,000, right? So our goal over here is to get you more calls. So how do you do that? Expectation setting. This is a very broad term, right? Expectation setting. This is the number one thing that allows people to go from seeing your ad, clicking on your ad, landing on your page, opting in, booking a call, and then showing up. It's expectation setting. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is very, very simple. Okay, a lot of people, they are trying to get the most amount of clicks, the most amount of opt-ins possible. They're going for like a volume play. And so what ends up happening is that they usually end up writing ad copy in their ads. And if you have a VSL, for example, on your landing page, both these things are the culprits usually. They're the culprits of bad expectation setting because what they end up doing is they lead with a lot of emotional messaging. Imagine what your life could look like in X amount of time if you use our financial product. Imagine what your dating life could be like if you were able to do this, this, and this, and you won't feel lonely anymore, and you won't have the stress of XYZ, and you'll be able to finally do this and this and this and that. It's just like really emotional messaging. And so if you're watching this right now and this is ringing a bell for you that, man, you know what? I do a lot of emotional messaging where it's all just hitting on pain points and desires, and it's not really getting into solutions and how things work. I'll tell you what is happening. You're creating excitement, which is a great thing that you want to carry through to the call, but what is more likely to carry through? Emotional excitement or logical excitement? Okay, this is what ends up happening on a lot of advertising and video sales letter collateral. You're creating emotional excitement. People are getting riled up about what their life could look like. But what ends up happening is that as soon as they book the call, they almost get like booker's remorse, where they start feeling like, yeah, but I don't really know how this thing works. Am I going to be wasting my time by getting on a call with this person? And so that emotion is very, very short-lived. It's very short-lived. And so they book a call and then they drop off. So what's lacking over here? If emotional excitement isn't the answer, then what is? Logical excitement. That's the answer. That's how you increase your show rate and get more people getting on calls with you and then you being able to sell your service. So how do you create logical excitement? Okay, sure, lead with the emotional part. That's what they ultimately want. But what we do then is we start explaining how our product or our service or whatever it is that we're selling stands out and achieves that outcome or alleviates that pain that we were harping on so much previously. How do we actually do the job? What is it that we have that will allow them to create that outcome in their life? Give me the freaking step by step, especially in a business to business market. You want to make sure that you're having the prospect feel like you really are taking the time to have them understand the nuts and bolts of how your process works to get them their dream outcome. And if you can spell that out for them so that they know in their mind, based on the data, based on the research, based on the testimonials, based on your logical explanation, how your product works to get not just them, but other people like them results, guess what? They're not just going to be emotionally excited. They're going to be logically excited. And when they book the call, and then they see later on the reminder on their phone or the email from you or the text message from you or the call from the appointment center saying, hey, you have a call at this time. Are you going to be over there? The thought now is not going to go through their mind of like, do I really want to be on the call? It's going to be a no-brainer for them. It's going to be a hell yeah, I want to be on that call because I know exactly what they do. I know what the solution is. I know what their product is. I want to know how I can plug that into my life or my business or my health or my, stock portfolio, whatever it is that you're selling. Move away from just emotional excitement and incorporate logical excitement. You will see your show rate change instantly, whether it's on your ads, whether it's on your VSL, whether it's both. Okay. A tidbit as well that I want to add in over here as a bonus is that if you want to make sure people show up to the call, you want to give them a reason to show up. You want to give them value for showing up. Most people know in this day and age that they're going to be getting on a sales call. Don't try to hide that fact. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to make sure that you can part ways with something. Usually, for example, I will give whoever talks to me on the phone, I will give them a free audit of their entire ad account. I'll literally go in as an analyst. I will break down exactly what they're doing well with their media buying, how their copy could change. I'll give them a funnel audit. I will give them active recommendations that they can give to their media buyer or their copywriter, or they themselves can implement immediately. Whether they work with me or not, I will give that to them free of charge. And I don't call my freaking calls strategy sessions and discovery calls. It reeks of high ticket sales pressure. We want to make sure we give it a different name. So my unique mechanism of my product, of how I've helped, over dozens of businesses get to 7 and 8 figures, how I've worked with 9-figure brands and scale their ad spend, is with my infinite ad loop. So I call my calls an infinite ad loop implementation session. How I can actually help how I will help them install my systems into their business and get results. That's what the call is about. That's the frame, right? So you want to make sure inherently when they're booking the call, they're able to tie that they're going to be getting value from the entire exchange. So I hope this is helpful. If you want more free information, right? Courses on copy, funnels, VSLs, media buying, I've put those all in for free. I've held nothing back in my school community. You can go in there. The link is somewhere on this video. I don't sell information. However, I love coaching. I love mentoring up and coming businesses. I don't work with anyone and everyone that comes through. If you feel called to want to work with me potentially, go ahead and find my funnel, okay? Do a little bit of research, find my funnel, opt in. I'd be happy to have a conversation with you. Or at the very least, you can join the school community. Free information over there for life for everyone. I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you on the next video. Peace.